Hello and welcome to the Questing Community Podcast. I'm your sick host, MZion.
And I'm the recurring guest,
If
NullNegative.
I'm being completely real, it appears that you have just taken the spot of third host. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've been in this more than like over the past 3 weeks. You've had more of these than meal spuds because we each missed one. But you've been wonderfully consistent. So I want to say thanks for that. Yeah, well, I'm glad you enjoy it.
No problem. Don't
Anyway,
call it a comeback.
well, to our audience, we were at one point going to have a bit of an interview with the QM, but unfortunately, they couldn't be here today. So we were caught with our pants down, so to speak. So instead of doing the topic about that person, we're just gonna, talk about something very dear to Aiken's heart, which I think has, really started to take off. We're gonna talk about mind control. Now, Null, what do you think of mind control?
Yes, the topic we seem.
So yeah, what do you think of mind
You
control?
go ahead, man. We've got a little bit of a delay, I think, so I don't want to interrupt you.
That's fine. Um, yeah. So Aiken has a lot of mind control quests right now. Do you read any of them?
Um, do I read any of them? No, I don't think so. At least. Well, the issue is that I do most of my quest reading on my laptop, which I don't have at the moment. I left it at a friend's. So of course I got my password is like 20 letters long, so I'm not afraid of him finding out all the hideous stuff I masturbate to. But I think hmm, no, I don't think I'm following any right now. No, I think I did a couple of months in the past, but I unfollowed it because it went into stupid directions.
Well, would you define as stupid in a mind control quest?
Well, let's put it like this. The issue with these quests is that the more you actually get what you want, what the supposed fetish readers want out of it, the more you break the system. Because the more you get, the more minions you subsume, the less threat anybody else poses.
Hmm.
And when you've got like 15 bitches, getting a 16th one isn't so hard when you just dogpile her. So I don't know what the point is.
So you think they'll snowball a little too hard?
Yeah, I mean, hmm. Suppose that this is the issue if you just have it as. I mean, maybe you could merge right into proposing how to fix this. What would you do to fix this?
Well, I don't know, dude. I don't like mind control as a fetish. I mean, to a certain extent, it's all right, but I've tried reading those mind control quests, and you know, um, I don't understand the mass appeal behind it. I don't even understand how to fix it. I don't think people want it fixed. I think people just want like because it's easy wish fulfillment, right? I think that's just what people want out of quests.
I suppose that is true, but I'm not sure. It's just like, hmm, it's just not appealing to me because I mean, wish fulfillment. All right, it's nice, but after after reading, like, oh yeah, and then you dominated the 18th girl into your harem. I'm like, okay, so where is this going? I
Mm,
feel a little bit frustrated when these things go so
smoothly.
short-sightedly. That's why so many of them end up dead after a short while.
Well, that's all smart quests on Akon, really. All of those quests just tend to die after a while because nobody is. I think for a lot of people, they don't understand how much work a quest is, which is why you get so many people dropping quests early. Like they just think it's something you can do easily, and then they go and then they do the
Definitely.
first session. It's good, and people ask for the session. It's like, oh shit, I have to actually do work. But
Oh, that reminds me that I haven't run in 3 days. Oh God, I'm so terrible.
and they're all probably wondering if you just up and died and left them. Rip your players. Um,
Oh man, I should go back and make some sort of post there. I'm feeling bad now. Well, I actually have an idea on how you could make a mind control quest that can kind of like work a little better. You can always only mind control one person. You're like a possession or something, you know?
mm. Well, possession's an entirely different fetish, but I see what you mean. So people have to be more tactical about it.
Yeah, tactical espionage possession.
Although I'm not sure if it's the best idea to just have such a focus on it. Like, surely those people have just figured out what they want, and there's an overabundance of it. So, but regardless, they just do it anyway because that's the type of stuff they like, right? I mean, sorry, I'm not articulating my points very clearly, but surely it's just that the people have discovered something they really like, and they've just started, they want to do it. So then people from that community, like the mind control university thing, it seems like a sorry, it seems like a concept that anyone can do it with because it's got a very simple system, very simple ground rules, and I think that's why they've got so popular because it's very easy to do uh, to make things for them. And I think to that extent, we've also got it so that communities have formed around the quests, which is, that's just going to be an inevitability of that sort of shit. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, especially since now we've got a quest that's literally breaking this exact thing. I mean, I don't know what it's called. I forgot the name again, but it was like one of the random fucking town mooks apparently. I mean, that's what the writer went with anyway. One of the random town mooks has the ability to, whenever he rolls on a D20, D100, always gets a 100. So this dude just randomly manages to stumble into a session of one of these, what do you call it? One of these mind controllers trying to dominate his girlfriend and warp her mind into being their bitch instead of his girlfriend. And he basically beats the shit out of the mind controller and turns her mind control. I think first her pen and then her mind control painting thing against her, and starts turning it all on them, which is like literally breaking this established setting that was set up, which I think is hilarious because it was inevitably going to happen.
I mean, now it's sort of like Oro's quest, Snake Catcher quest, where like it's all fun and games at the time, but the more you like look at it, the more you realize just how fucked up everything in that setting is. Like, goddamn. I mean, how awful is it to just be a peasant, right? And you're in this world where just randomly some bitches can just walk over and mind control your other bitches. It's just like, nah, that ain't cool, man. So,
It
I
sure
fully,
isn't. What do you
I
think? What do you think? I write a conscript quest about some fuckwit lost in the Toll
yeah.
universe.
I
That
mean,
is
all sorts of
terrifying.
quests are terrifying, but NTR definitely takes the cake because NTR is Satan. Anybody who supports it just deserves to just straight up die. So
Yes, definitely, absolutely correct.
yeah, so I think that having a quest, which I mean, a big part of mind control, I think is always going to go into that territory. So having a quest which is just taking the piss out of it and having a guy break the established setting, I'm cool with that. All the more power to the guy, in my opinion.
Definitely. Hold on. Didn't you at least once write NTR in Depravity?
Yeah, dude, I wrote everything there.
Yeah, okay.
Like everything.
Yeah, I know.
Everything.
And I enjoyed reading it.
Joke's on you, you managed to enjoy it. Um, yeah, I've really messed up my questing schedule. It sucks so bad.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, You've been running the magical girl thing for a while now, I think. And
Well,
I mean, your questing schedule is kind of amazing in the first place. You run like one quest for an entire month and then switch gears to the next one.
yeah. Well, it's more of the fact that like, so I started writing the Magical Girl quest, and I really enjoyed it. Like, it was super fun to write. I'd never really done anything sort of in that tone or like that before. So I just went ham on it, started writing, and people seem to really enjoy it, and I enjoy writing for it. It's interesting. It's made a world that I really enjoy, and it's one of the only quests that I've ever made that has a super limited scope. Like, there's a clear end game, and we will eventually get to it. And the players are like halfway through it right now. Problem is, I got sick halfway through, so the last 2 weeks have just been me fucking around because I can't write properly. So
Yeah, come on. That's outside of your control. But I'm going to just think of it in your favor and say that you spent all of this time coming up with neat little widgets and plot hooks for the whole story, huh?
well, I have been thinking about a fair bit for the quest, but I have been pretty ill. Um, yeah, I mean, with that quest, I just thought of how I wanted it to go from the beginning and what I wanted the end to be, and I'm just letting players, stumble their way through the middle, which I think isn't.
Hey, honestly, question for real now. What would have happened if we have rolled above 95 on that one thing when you tried to triple combine?
Oh yeah, right. So it's like if you get it,
Wait, hold on. Let me say that I think I know why you did that. Because, if you had let happen every single possible combination, I mean, look, I've got the theory that you've already planned out like every combination that could happen if people just directly combine to a
mm,
Meguka. But if people would start combining odd numbers of four at once or whatever, then you'd end up with like way too many combinations. So you basically barred that by using the system of everything fucking explodes if you try it.
kind of. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say kind of, but not exactly. Um, well, if people had rolled a above the 95,
Okay, go
then what
ahead.
would have happened would have been a very lucky break because it would have had random two of them fuse, and then the last one just get kicked out and fail completely. So it wasn't so much a roll to succeed as a roll to not explode that failed.
Oh wow, this is giving me great hopes for the future.
Hey man, it's Magukas and suffering. Everyone knows suffering is a highly combustible material.
Oh sure, especially around what do you call it? Right, righteous blues. Hmm?
Mm. But yeah, I've enjoyed running that quest. Um, I really hope that I can continue doing it.
Oh yeah, and I hope that you keep doing it.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. So what I wanted to say, right, was going back to mind control. It's like,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wonder why. I mean, people. I've said this before. I think it only really got popular in the last 6 months. I mean, there was some before that, but it was way less than it's right now.
I blame Storia.
I wonder why that is.
Storia. Storia is the one who made it popular, I think.
Who?
Storia was this QM who wrote a bunch of mind control quests, and they were super duper popular, um, like ridiculously popular. So I think that's what got a lot of people into the fetish. Then you've got like the betomed things and so on. But yeah, I think that might be why.
All right. Yeah, sure, could be.
He's like the patient zero. Yeah. Sorry. Well, in regards
No
to
problem.
questing,
Hmm.
what do you think of the mind control
I'm
quest?
not. I'm not sure what. Huh? Excuse me, I didn't understand that.
Sorry. In regards to questing, what do you think of the future of mind control quests? Do you think, they've got a permanent home? Or do you think it's
No,
a fad that will end soon?
I definitely think it's a fad that will end, but I can't say if it's going to end soon or not because it's like, to a certain degree, it's self-sustaining. But I've seen fads like this, like story fads, happen a couple of times. Like back in 2010, 2011, it was real big in space battles. They wrote like 8 billion different fanfics about this anime series or manga, I suppose at that point was Zero no Tsukaima. It was like this
Yeah, dude.
fucking, you know that?
Yeah. It's, still there. Like, I'm pretty sure there are loads of Zero Nodes, or whatever the fuck it is, quests out there.
Yeah, sure, but back then they were cranking out like 50 fics a fucking day, or at least 50 summoning scenes. The joke was always that they replaced the fucking Japanese kid that's being summoned in the original with some other character, generally a crossover character, and then go from there. And it's like there were like 50,000 of them cranked out, but they never went further than the first 2, 3 updates. Hell, I've written
Yeah.
one, I think. It's too long ago. I forgot which character I did. But anyway, yeah.
That just
Uh,
means you're part of the problem.
yeah, sure, but I stopped, I repented for my sins. But yeah,
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
that after a while, ran its course and stopped too. I think they're not really putting anything out nowadays anymore. Except for Earth Scorpion, who's still fucking writing over Lady because he's a barnacle and he wouldn't go off if you blowtorched him. But yeah, I respect
That sounds
that.
like that sounds like a personal vendetta.
No, it's not. I think he's very persistent, and I think it's very respectable. I meant that as a compliment. I'm serious.
Oh,
But
fair
it's
enough.
like, there's not really much you can do to stop this. I mean, this mind control stuff over here is the same. Right now, it's really popular, but it's going to burn out sooner or later.
Yeah, well, there's a chance it just might not burn out at all. Um, but it might do. I think from the mind control fad, we've just got to see where it goes, see if it can, gets over it, or if it ends up permanently colonized by mcstories.com.
Yeah, let's see. I'm looking forward to it.
Honestly, I'm in the camp that it's probably not going to fade, the fad. I think that shit might be to stay, and we have to get ready for our new mind control running
Hmm.
overlords.
Well, of course, at which point I'm pretty sure that you'll start writing one too.
Hey man, you know me. No scruples.
Always hunting those fads, huh?
Nah, I don't like mind
Yeah,
control that much.
actually, that's a good question. How would you write the whole thing to make it interesting?
I don't think I would. I think a mind control quest is like inherently doomed to not be interesting. Um, like I think that you can do like corruption and whatnot, but I don't think a quest can completely carry itself on mind control just by the nature of the fetish. It's definitely more suited to things like short stories than actual quests. Because the only way I think to properly do it would be the way Storia did it, which would be like a very small focus with one or two characters. Like I would say that definitely some quests do it
Yeah,
well.
Storia does it terribly. I mean, he does it well for like the 2 weeks that he runs the quest and then drops it. And that
Yeah,
actually is a personal vendetta. I got fucking mad about him.
yeah. But I think that uh, if you have a mind control quest that goes on forever, oh gosh, how to put this in words? I think that they need a proper scope and a set and a scale, like from the beginning. I think people need to know, the QMs need to know what they want to get out of the quest from the start.
Yep.
Because otherwise it ends with uh, sometimes it gets like formulaic. That's a problem with loads of quests, a load of fetish quests. It's not just mind control, but mind control is more susceptible to it than most, because unless you're doing the story style of mind control, it ends up with you getting one girl, then the next, then the next. One of the big problems I have with a lot of quests, including mine, like this is something that I've recognized as a weakness, is that you end up introducing a girl, having a character arc with them. Okay, that girl's done, introducing the next girl. Then, that's done, introducing the next girl. But then you've got all those players who said, hey, dude, what the fuck happened to girl number two? She was waifu, she was bae. And the QM's like, sorry, dude, there's not enough room for that. We only serve waifu 3 here now. That's something that I ran into as a problem in Depravity. And I think to a certain extent, it's a big problem in all sorts of fetish quests. Like, it's just a trap that I think a lot of people fall into. But again, since
It's box ticking.
the what?
I said it's box
Oh
ticking.
yeah,
You got the waifu, you tick the box, and move on, next one.
yeah. And I think that because mind control has, to use the term, such a high turnover rate for girls, that it's super susceptible to it. So I think that the best way to do it would be, again, to do it as Storia did, which is to have just the one, right? Like just one girl to focus on.
Yeah. Suppose the issue is that, well, yeah, I actually really liked that one story that he wrote about. I think I forgot which one it was. I thought I forgot the name, but it was like this alchemist decides to, basically he takes this idea. He's a virgin or something, I think, and he just decides, you know what, I don't want to be one anymore, but I don't want to go out there and uh, deal with those fucking harlots. So
Yes,
I'm just gonna make
yeah,
myself a
I,
GF. So he just creates her out of by just scratching magical circles in the ground and collecting different ingredients and just making her.
yeah.
And
No,
turns
I
out
enjoyed that.
that he doesn't actually mind control her in any way. She's just she wants to be the perfect waifu for him, and she's got the mind control powers. So she's basically casually mind controlling people around him to make the whole thing work better. And I thought it was
Yeah,
really neat, except it is also fucking dead because, Story is a flaky bitch.
yeah. I think that again, I think that's the best way to do it. But I think you can also do it by if you want to do it in a different way. I think you have to work your butt off to make sure that the other girls are also represented. Like what's that quest called? The one that the Exalted guy runs. Um, fuck, I can't remember the name of it. Whatever it is, right? It's got this thing where people do get mind controlled and whatnot, but it's got they all show up in the story and they still contribute, which is something that I actually quite enjoy. Like even after the whole mind control thing, because it's less about getting bitches and more about building like an army or kind of army, small skirmish squad more than anything else. And I think that's the only way to do it if you're gonna have that sort of shit. Otherwise, again, it just descends into waifu collecting, and I don't think that's fun, honestly.
Hmm. Well, definitely. It's more the issue is that these kind of stories don't. You mentioned this before with the clear start and end point. I think you can go a step further and say that it's because these stories don't really have a lot of direction. They're just like you just set the player free in a environment, and they just go around doing whatever they want to and dominating things and going places. And it just, it runs out of steam because there's nowhere it could steam to.
Yeah.
And that's why having a clear endpoint is very important when you start a quest, because then you can aim towards it. I mean, let's think of a mind control quest that has a clear endpoint. The problem is that for most of the things with clear endpoints, I'm a pretty understandably militarily headed person, so all I can think of is like the angles for an only war campaign, the Warhammer Dark Heresy mod that focuses on actual war fighting. And
Mm.
there was like this one scenario for it where you're on a planet and basically there's this giant fucking swamp made of hell that basically contains all the orcs ever. And you're smack dab in the middle of it, having a massive fucking fight against the orcs every single day, 24/7, because they're everywhere and they love killing you, and you hate fighting them, but you have to, otherwise you're dead. And like suddenly you get a fucking memo. Oh, guess what? The army commanders decided that this shit is too costly and we're pulling out in 24 hours. And by the way, if you're not out by 23 hours, you're not going to manage to clear the blast zone before the Imperial Navy levels the entire place. And, I'm like, why don't you set a mind control story in something like this? You need to mind control your way out of the blast zone, otherwise you're fucking dead.
Yeah, that could be an interesting way to do it. Yeah, so just to recap, I think that the best ways to do a mind control quest would be to either have a very short, a very small selection of girls. You can expand it over time, but just make sure that they each get their focus and none of them sort of just fall to the wayside. I think you need to do that. Next on the list, I think,
Hmm.
would be to either just have it focused on one girl, um, and do it that way, or of course you can just be really really good. The one my control quest is about reforming that one punk girl. Yeah, that's the kind of just like one girl thing, right? Loner quest. Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I mean by just like having one girl do it. Because you've got the clear focus. It's clearly about that one girl, right? So I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. I thought Loner was
Hmm.
alright. Um, but of course there are lots of problems with mind control quests. But who knows, man? Who knows what they could be in a few years? They could be great. They could be amazing. Or they could all fall to the wayside, sort of shit.
Let's see where it goes, huh? I mean, reading doesn't cost me
Just
anything
time.
except time.
Yeah, man. If I had unlimited time, yeah. I mean, like, if I had more time, I guess I would be, getting. I don't have a use for my time. Let's just say that. There's a reason I quest. I used to quest like 8 hours a night.
Why?
I had nothing better to do. Video games were shit. Honestly, yeah. Half the reason I quest as much as I do is because all the video games that have come out over the last couple of years have all been garbage or short.
That
God damn.
is that is definitely true. I mean, the only reason that I the only reason that I haven't done a lot of video. It's seriously like that, isn't it? I started playing so many games. It was almost like 10 minutes in. I'm like, I fucking hate this. Why am I playing this? The only
Mm.
exceptions in the recent times have been Doom 4, which was fucking baller, and I still celebrate it for being so baller. And kind of also, what do you call it? This one thing that I've recently found. I think it's really nice. Sword with sauce. That thing is damn nice.
Mm. See, for me, it was like uh, the only game that I can say I've properly enjoyed over the I thought was amazing over the past while was I don't know, man. I'd say I enjoyed like Breath of the Wild. I enjoyed what was that fucking thing called? Yeah, I really enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles X. But then aside from those, it's just like Resident Sleeper. nothing interesting up.
Resident Sleeper, definitely a good argument.
It,
Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean,
I mean, it's just like it makes me want to say, "Come on, video game industry, like this bullshit." But yeah,
what kind of games do you favor?
RPGs definitely. My favorite game that came out of the last is was Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I think was a fantastic game.
I never heard of that. What is that? What kind of a game is that?
It's this really big RPG on the Wii U. Um,
Oh,
it's
okay.
uh, it's about fucking so humanity gets well, Earth is sort of just there chilling, and then this big evil alien empire comes to fight Earth. And everyone goes, "Oh no!" But luckily for them, there's a giant other fleet of equally evil alien people who also come to Earth, and then they fight like directly over Earth, the two factions, and the debris from all their shit blows up Earth. The people from Earth escape on these sort of like giant arcs, which have got cities contained in them, uh, and they eventually land on this very like fucked up crashed alien planet called Mirror, and it's about a group of like it's about the human survivors, etc., exploring the new world, sort of like meeting the locals, adapting to the surroundings, and colonizing the planet. It's a really cool game.
Oh, hold on. Is that the one where you end up like building your own giant mecha piecemeal?
Yeah, that's another thing. Xenoblade Chronicles X has this thing called scales, which are giant robots that everybody wears, that everybody has because he's fucking giant robots, man. Um, so
I can appreciate that. Okay, so it's kind of like action RPG, JRPG kind of thing.
yeah,
I
um,
can't say that I've played a lot of those type of games because I've been a PC only gamer for like how
yeah.
long now?
If I
At
want to play,
least 10 years.
the combat system is basically like World of Warcraft, if I'm being completely honest. Um, like the very, basic, you've got an action bar and you choose your actions. It's sort of like that.
I'm seriously dipping towards Resident Sleeper now, dude.
Well, I think it has like the deepest combat system I've played because there's so much shit that goes into it. But you just select those. What
Really?
do you, what like?
Yeah, the issue is that I'm like this sort of what do you call it? I'm this intensely twitchy, instant gratification type of gamer. I
Yeah,
play games like Doom. I occasionally give Quake Live a go. I played Toxic for a while because that's nice. If you heard of that, that's like some sort of it's basically if Quake Live fans tried to make some sort of blend of Quake Live and Unreal Tournament. And it's like, and what else? Yeah, I'm a shooter guy. My brother made the mistake of installing a hacked version of Counter Strike 1.6 on my computer when I was 6 years old. And well, it wasn't even my computer; it was like the family computer. And then I hogged the thing 24/7 and made it impossible for people to use the telephone because I was on the internet line all the time and tried to kill people on non-VAC protected servers while in one of three servers there was some sort of hacker who just killed everyone instantly at round start. And then that's the kind of environment that I basically grew up in. Just try killing people while everyone is cheating, and with like 200 ping at all times also because holy shit, what's going on?
yeah. Well,
So the whole action RPG angle. I'm sorry, but there's not enough action.
yeah, that's fair enough. I enjoy the more slow-paced. The only fast-paced game I enjoy is like Dark Souls. But I don't know. I've probably put like over 2,000 hours into the Dark Souls series. No, that's too much. Like 500 hours into the Dark Souls series. So no, I've put at least 200 into Dark Souls 2. But I fucking hate that series. Like overall, I think it's fucking bullshit. I hate it. I like it, but I hate it.
You mean Dark Souls?
Yeah. especially 2. Fuck Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 is so awful.
I actually wait. Let me check. I did actually buy it. Yes, I did, but I haven't played it. I played Dark Souls 1, and I'm 3/4 through Dark Souls 3, but I haven't touched Dark Souls 2. I want to play Bloodborne, but I'm not willing to buy a PS4 over it.
Yeah. Dude, if I'm being straight up, Dark Souls 2 is just. Actually, you know what? There's not much quests to talk about. I'm sick. Our guest didn't show up, and I've got a headache. So, I'm just going to say it now while we've got the time. Dark Souls 2 is just hot garbage. Like, it's fucking terrible in so many ways. It's the movement is bad. It's fucking there's huge dead zones when you walk around. The way you roll is unresponsive compared to how it is before. Fucking rolling iframes are tied to a stat, so if you're playing on release day, you didn't know what this fucking ADP adaptability bullshit was, and you get fucking wrecked because oh man, I'll just roll past this attack, and because your toes are still there. When you start at the roll, you get hit, and it looks like you just got fucking slammed by something that hits you from like a mile to the side. This fucking everything's got huge, bad, disjointed hitboxes like the goddamn ancient dragon, which is just fucking terrible design. All of the bosses are garbage except for like one, which is just a one-note boss at the end of some really ugly area, and then another one which you have to like climb through all this bullshit to get to. The DLCs are fucking terrible. They each have this really AIDS area, which is fucking garbage in every way. Like one of the areas is like no real talk. One of the areas in Dark Souls 2 is a snow level where you can't see, and every 30 seconds you get attacked by a giant reindeer made of thunder that deals ridiculous amounts of damage, and you can't see it coming. And you don't know where you have to go because you can only see every about 20 seconds,
Amazing.
right? And do you know what you get at the end of it? At the very end of all that?
Nothing?
You get a boss. Do you know what that boss is? It's the previous boss you just killed, only there are 2 of it.
That's almost as bad as when you went back to the undead asylum in Dark Souls 1, and suddenly it turns out that torches are better weapons than fucking broken off short swords, so all the hollows are fucking ridiculous to deal with because they just infinitely combo you. And at the end, you find the same fucking demon you fought before, except now it just infinitely spams AoE butt slams everywhere.
No, no, no. The worst part is again in 2. There's this other DLC passage, right? Which is if you're doing it solo, it's filled with these enemies that you can't kill in melee range because the only way to do it properly is to summon a player. Otherwise, they slow you down from afar while you're getting rushed by infinite poise giant enemies that 2 or 3 shot you. And if you run through that bullshit while, getting hit by an AoE Tranquil Walk of Peace, you get to fight a reskin of a boss you fought earlier in the game.
Uh,
And then there's another area in the first DLC, which is you have to go through a really narrow passage chocked full of enemies and fucking ridiculous statues that petrify you because they spit at you. And if you beat that area, then what's waiting for you is a boss, which is just 3 NPCs, all using meta PvP sets, and they just gank you, and it's called Gank Squad.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I thought that before Dark Souls 3, I played Dark Souls 1 like barely a month or like 2 months before Dark Souls 3 came out. So I was like, and of course, I was too afraid of Dark Souls to just start it upright. I'm a shooter guy. I have absolutely no idea how to do fighting games. I have absolutely no idea how to do hack and slashes like Devil May Cry. So Dark Souls was like beyond that shit to me, even. And I went into it using the dumb shits guide. You know that, right?
Yeah.
MZ?
Yeah. I know. Sorry, my microphone cut out for a second.
Yeah, okay. Well, I watched the dumb shits guide, and I learned a fucking giant dad. And I said to myself, you know what? I can get the Zweihander right outside the gate. Why don't I just immediately? Why don't I just say that my first playthrough is gonna be a meme playthrough? Let's be giant dead from day one. I played the entire fucking game using the two-hander, and I never learned how to use shields. I rolled through every single attack of every single enemy in the entire game from the word go.
Yeah,
Because
no,
I
that's the best way to play Dark Souls. Because in the other Dark Souls games, you can just equip a great shield and nothing can hurt you because the games are really poorly balanced. That's why I say I like the games, but I fucking hate them.
yeah, there's many things about the games that I love just for being the game, and so many things that I hate for being fucking stupid. Like, I mean, I like I actually used the fucking roll stab on the Zweihander in Dark Souls One because against PVE enemies because I just had no idea how to. I mean, I went for the actual giant dad build also. You know, I didn't invest more points, so I couldn't parry, of course, because I didn't have anything to parry with. I couldn't block. I could only roll. So I rolled through god fucking stupid attacks from basic Mook enemies, and then I had to roll stab them with the two-hander, with the Zweihander, to get the damage and to stagger them, you know, and so I could get my three swing giant dad combo out to completely wreck them. But it was like there's certain things that just make this almost. Then I moved up. This kind of worked, you know. This worked in Dark Souls One, and then
Yeah.
I skipped Dark Souls 2, as I said, moved up to Dark Souls 3, and Jesus Christ, what the fuck did they do to this game? Every single enemy is some sort of. Did you play Dark Souls 3 yet?
Yeah, dude, I've played all of them. I've got like so many hours in the games.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm fucking frustrated about Dark Souls 3. I mean, I already got past I already got past the Dragon Slayer armor, but it's still like I hate so much about the game. I mean, in comparison to Dark Souls One, at least, because there's like, first of all, where the fuck is poise? I enjoyed that. Second, why the hell does every other enemy? Why is every other enemy huge? And then also, besides just being huge, also has these completely ridiculous combos. I mean,
Uh,
do you notice this too, right? Like, for
yeah,
example,
no,
the Hollow Man.
it's because of Bloodborne basically.
Yeah,
Because the no poise thing actually, poise is in the game. It's just different.
yeah, I know. It's hyper armor,
Yeah, I think it's a good
so
change.
you can get your giant fucking ultra great sword swings out without getting staggered out of the combo. But that's like,
Yeah,
oh come on. I'm literally wearing 80 fucking pounds of armor. It doesn't help me stand any straighter. Come on.
but poise was ridiculously broken in one.
Yeah, I know. It's kind
It's
of
like the problem with poise, right, is that poise goes directly against the type of build you would expect to do good with poise. Because, like, if I think of a guy who wears really heavy armor, I think of, a really powerful guy. He's got like a two-handed sword, really strong, powers through attacks, right?
sure.
That build is shit in Dark Souls 1. Because if you
Well,
have to
unless you're
invest.
fighting the Four Kings, yes, it is shit.
Well, no, because, like, no, it's because you've got to invest so much extra endurance to be able to wear the heavy armor and the heavy weapon, right? And you've also got to go strength.
Yeah,
But or you
definitely.
could just like get less endurance, use like an S stock or a rapier or something, and then still have that poise, still be able to like tank the guy's two-hander attacks. Only you attack faster and you do more damage because you invest more into your damage stat or you've got more health. It goes directly against what you would think it should, what it should go to. It's the same
Hmm.
reason why they nerfed pyromancy, because having just like an option.
Because people were just fireballing people to death or what?
Well, no, in pyromancy, in Dark Souls 1, pyromancy doesn't scale with anything. It's just fucking straight up damage, right? you upgrade your pyromancer glove, and that's it. It doesn't scale with any stats. So what that means was that you could be like this huge physical tank guy, and if you ever have trouble, you just like whip out fire. And even if you didn't like fire, you're at a huge disadvantage if you didn't get the fire glove and the black flame pyromancies, just because like they're really good and you have to use them, and there's no reason to not get them because it doesn't impact your build. Dark Souls 1 had a bunch of really dumb design decisions, which I think 3 helped rectify. 2 had a lot of really dumb design decisions as well. I think 3 is the best overall.
Uh, um, well, I didn't really get a lot into the PvP of Dark Souls 1, but in the PvE aspect, I have to say I think I prefer Dark Souls 1 to 3 because I'm, the Dark Souls, the Bloodborne aspect is like, I understand that enemies are supposed to be, a little bit more in your face, but why the Outrider Knights, okay? Or the Hollow Manservants, those fucking guys with the board or the cage on their back and the giant saw,
Yeah.
or
Hollow
the
Manservants are bullshit, but I think Outrider Knights are just meant to be mini bosses.
yeah,
And
okay, I can grant that. I mean, at least those guys get their own mini arenas, But
yeah,
like
because I
the
think
lycanth
every Outrider Knight,
the lycanthropes too. Those things with the with the cross on their back in that swamp area,
yeah,
or the
but they get
fucking
staggered.
pontiff knights.
Yeah, what's it called? They all get staggered really easily though. That's the thing. Like the only ones that are actually bullshit are the Hollow Manservants because they've got ridiculous poise as well as being big. The Pontiff Knights and other ones just get staggered easily. Like they look big, but they essentially function as a normal enemy. Um,
I've had issues dealing with them because they like I've got this roll reflex because of all the time giant deading in Dark Souls 1. So they start swinging, so I roll back, and they just keep swinging. I keep rolling back, and they keep swinging, and they never fucking stop.
yeah,
I mean, once they get
that's
into one of those combos,
yeah, that's actually explicitly how a lot of enemies in Dark Souls 3 are programmed. Pontiff Sullivan probably does this best, or one of the DLC bosses, but a lot of enemies in the game are specifically designed to roll catch you if you just like roll back or roll randomly instead of thinking about where you roll. Like it's
like,
something
where
that
would
they
I
do.
roll then? I mean, I can't exactly roll past him because I can't clip through him.
Yeah, you're supposed to like instead of rolling randomly, you're supposed to sort of time it and roll towards them. And sometimes you just need to back off from them and give them space, and then attack. Because not sure if you knew, but pretty much in Dark Souls 3, every enemy has got their own like internal stamina gauge, which is interesting to say the least.
I thought that was the standard in most games. I mean, at least in Dark Souls 1 also.
Dark Souls 2 has got infinite stamina enemies, like tested infinite stamina. You cannot guard break certain enemies no matter what. But it leads to a really fun glitch in Dark Souls
Huh.
3, where if you get enough debuffs on people, you can actually put their mana regeneration to 0, including bosses, and they just freeze because they can't move because they have no stamina.
That's interesting. I like it when the game doesn't cheat with these sorts of things and actually gives the enemies the same mechanics that you have to fight with.
Yeah, it's something that the enemies have to deal
Hmm.
with as well. Like people say enemies attack like infinitely, are wrong because aside from like one thing, they don't. But 3 is probably the hardest game in the series. But I think overall it's my favorite, probably because it's got the best bosses, and that's all the replayability comes from.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they learned a lot about how to make the bosses more interesting. I think there's only like a handful of bosses in Dark Souls 1 that have multiple phases, and in Dark Souls 3 they all have multiple phases.
I think I think Dark Souls 3 would legit just be better if it was just a boss rush game.
I think most games would be better if they were just a boss rush game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, we've gotten off track. I'm tired, and you know, I got ditched uh, by our guests. I'm just going to go into a ball and cry. But I think we can end it here.
Yeah, definitely. I think we had at least a good talk about games for once.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's more the fact that, I thought our guy was coming, so we didn't really have a topic. So I apologize to everybody listening to me rant about video games while I'm sick. But that's what you do when you've got to think about shit on the spot because people don't show up. Yay. Um, so yeah, as always, I'm your host, MZion. I run a lot of quests.
And I'm the most persistent guest in the world, NullNegative.
Yeah. You get if honestly, dude, if you show up to another one, you get honorary co-host status.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm MZion. I run quests on Anonkun and also on questionable questing, which I only got back to today after like a week of not doing anything on it because I was sick. And yeah, that's NullNegative. He runs Tuhu conscript quests on Anonkun. So
I'm pretty sure I'll have a new live up on Sunday. Yeah, that should work. Tomorrow I've got stuff to handle.
all right. Well, thank you very much for coming, everyone. Sorry for the meandering and the poor preparation. We'll just hope that next time we get a guest, they show up on time. But thank you everybody for listening, and I hope we'll see you later. I need to go get a drink and sleep. So night.
Good night.